Hey guys. Oh, where are you? I am in hotel because my bunk AC is not working. It is very hot. Do not like to sleep in hot. Very sweaty. Not good. So I don't know if this is gonna be a quick video, but it's got to be under 21 minutes because apparently that's all the time I have on my. For now, I got to clear out some videos. So I wanted to expand on my earlier video that I made today. What did I call it? The birds of the field. I was thinking about it more, and I felt like I was missing something, and then literally my mind went straight to Elijah, and I was like, why Elijah? And so I thought about it some more, and I was like, okay, Elijah, he goes against the prophets of Baal, and they make a big hoopla, and their God doesn't answer them, and Elijah basically makes it super difficult for his offering to be burned because he pours a bunch of water on it, and then the moment he calls on Yah, fire comes down from the heavens and consumes it all, even the water. And so I was like, okay, but what does that have to do with trial and adversity? Because I was like, because that's when I think of Elijah, that's immediately where my mind goes, is basically him calling out the prophets of Baal and schwacking them afterwards, after God answers him, by basically a fire tornado. And then I was thinking, well, wait a minute, Elijah had adversity too. And, before the prophets of Baal, he was suffering through the drought and the famine, just like everyone else. Luckily he was able to make a little bit of flour and, last for a while for that family that he stayed with. And then afterwards, basically, he he has a woe is me moment. And Yah reminds him that he just needs a nap and a cookie and a nap. I think that's what I'm gonna call this one, is a cookie and a nap. So I'm gonna read 19, and we can dissect after I read 19. At 1 Kings 19. If you're in the scriptures, it's page 374. For those of you who are uninitiated or have only read the King Jimmy, God has a name. It's not the Lord. The Lord. I mean, you can call him that if you want. It's all you, boo. You can call him that if you want, but he actually has a name. The name, people argue. Yahweh, Yahuwah, El Shaddai. Yes. I'm of the personal, right now where I'm at is I'm somewhere between Yahovah and Yahuwah. So I may interchange those, but ultimately he knows who we're talking about. He knows when we pray, he knows who we're calling on. So ultimately, until we actually hear the name spoken again by God himself to us, probably in our Mount Sinai moment, or at least in our Jeebus, Messiah's back, and he's going to tell us everything after he schwacks a bunch of people, hopefully not us, right? We don't want to be on Team Bird Food. We want to be on Team Yeshua. Yeshua is Jesus' name, by the way, because there's no J in Hebrew, but again, you do you, boo. I use Jesus and Yeshua interchangeably because, again, he knows who we're talking about. And, language translations, yada 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 yada. So I don't think that matters that much. So I'm not a name Nazi like some people I've come across, which whatever. But anyways, squirrel. No, sidetrack. 1 Kings 19, page 374 in the scriptures. And when Ahab reported to Jezebel that Elijah had done, or all that Elijah had done, also how he slew all the prophets with the sword, Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, "So let the mighty ones do to me, and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time." So basically she's saying, hey, let my gods kill me the way you killed our prophets if I don't kill you by tomorrow. She's threatening him. And he feared and rose up and ran for his life. Dude just got done schwacking 450 prophets of Baal, but Jezebel threatens him and he's like, I gotta go. And went to Beersheba. Sorry, my Hebrewese is not great. Which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. Or is it Yehuda? Sorry, Yehuda. Yeah, so Judah, yeah. And left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree and prayed that he might die, and said, "It is enough. Now Yahuwah, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." So he's like, dude, I'm done. Just I'm good. Let me check out, God. Let me, I hope none of you ever gotten to that point. I don't think I've ever been there yet, but I get it. He's tired. He's done. He's like, I'm, just end it. I'm ready. And he lay and slept under a broom tree. And see, a messenger touched him and said to him, rise and eat, or rise, eat. And he looked and saw by his head a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and turned and lay down. And the messenger of Yahuwah came back the second time and touched him and said, rise, eat, for the journey is too much for you. So he's like, hey man, just eat some food, take a nap. You'll feel better later. And he rose up and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights. God, what? Jeez, man. He went in that food. The 2 meals that he had sustained him for 40 days and 40 nights, which is, I've been told, and I need to do some more research on it, but 40 days and 40 nights, the same time Yeshua was in the wilderness. I think it was 40 days and 40 nights he was among the apostles after his resurrection. So I've been told that is the time of completion. It's a time of completion. So I need to do my own more deeper study. But here, we're all here learning the word, right? Yes, I know. Fidget. And he rose up. Okay, sorry. And he rose up and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights as far as Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. And there he went into a cave and spent the night there. So I haven't thought about this, and I don't know if maybe it's just kind of, me making connections in my brain, but Moses, that's where he spoke to God. The burning bush. Now it says it was on Mount Horeb. There's a small possibility in my head that maybe this cave that Elijah went and slept in is the exact same cave where Moses saw the burning bush, which I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying it was. I'm just like, in my mind, that'd be really cool if that was the same, place. And there he went into a cave and spent the night there. And see, the word of Yahuwah came to him and said to him, what are you doing here, Elijah? So God's saying, hey, why are you here? What are you doing? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahuwah Elohim of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughter places, and they have killed your prophets with the sword. And I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it. So that's pretty depressing, man. He's watched the chosen people, people that God made his covenant with, the children of Israel, basically forsake everything and throw it all away. And he feels like he's alone on an island, right? He's by himself. There's no one else. And he said, go out. So, and he said, go out and stand. So I think this he is Yahuwah, or yeah. Go out and stand on the mountain before Yahuwah, and see Yahuwah pass by, and a great and strong wind tearing the mountain and breaking the rocks in pieces before Yahuwah. Yahuwah was not in the wind. And after the wind and earthquake, Yahuwah was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. Yahuwah was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it came to be, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his robe and went out and stood at the cave's opening. And see, a voice came to him and said, what are you doing here, Elijah? And he said, I had been very jealous for Yahuwah Elohim of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughter places, and they have killed your prophets with the sword, and I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it. So he's reiterated this twice. He said it once, and God's like, watch. And, basically all these great things happen, but God's voice is not there. It's a still small voice that speaks to Elijah that he hears and comes out. And Yahuwah said to him, go, return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and you shall go in and anoint Hazael, I don't know, as the sovereign of Amram, and anoint Jehu, son of Nimish, as the sovereign over Israel, and anoint Elisha, son of Saphat, of Abel. I tried to read this earlier, and I was just like, Meholah, as prophet in your place. And it shall be that whoever escapes the sword of Hazael, Jehu does kill, and whoever escapes the sword of Jehu, Elisha does kill. And I shall leave 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. So God says, look, man, you're not alone. There's 7,000. There's 7,000 who still haven't worshipped this false god. So he's like, don't feel discouraged. Gives him his marching orders, says, go, do these things, stop moping about in the cave. You shouldn't be here anyways. You had your nap, you had your cake or cookie. Go. Nap time's over. Cookie time's over. Go do these things. And he went from there and found Elisha, son of Saphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he was with the 12th. And Elijah passed by him and threw his robe on him. And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, please, let me kiss my father and my mother, and then I follow you. And he said to him, go, turn back for what I have done to you. For what have I done to you? Go, turn back, for what have I done to you? And he turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slaughtered them, and cooked their flesh using the implements of the oxen, and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he rose up and followed Elijah and became his servant. So basically the mantle was passed, right? Yah said, hey, I get it, you're tired. Don't worry. There's a whole bunch of dudes that still haven't bowed the knee. And furthermore, you're going to basically, pass the mantle on. Who, so Elijah and Elisha. Is it Elisha? Yeah. Elisha. Anyways, let me wrap this up here because I'm quickly running up on my time cap. I was wondering why I thought of Elijah earlier when I was driving away from my delivery location. I was just like, that's a really good example of trial, right? Elijah does this great thing. He's on the mountain, he proves to all of Israel that God, Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim is God, not Baal. Baal's nothing. Baal's not there. He's absent. He makes fun of Baal to the prophets of Baal. He's like, where's your God? Is he sleeping? Is he away on a journey? Like, where is he? What's he doing? Is he meditating? Like, where's your God? And they get all angry, and they start cutting themselves and trying everything they can. And he's like, nope, your God ain't real. Watch this. Not only am I going to make it more difficult for my God to prove he's real, he's going to do it the moment I call on him. And I like to think it was a fire NATO, just whoosh, just everything. It says everything, the rocks, the freaking, the offering, the wood, the stone, even the water and the dust, just gone, consumed. And, so that's like him standing on the mountain of success, right? He's done this amazing thing. And then instantly it's like he freaks out and he's back down at the bottom, like he's threatened that, Jezebel's going to come kill him. And so he runs and he hides and he's in this low point, and all he needed was a nap and a cookie. Twice, nap and a cookie, and then he was good for 40 days. Like, wow. I wish I had a freaking nap and a cookie that lasted, I don't know, 40 days. I like food too much to not eat every day. You see, there I am. Matoba. He's Matoba. For those of you who don't know, Matoba in Tagalog means fat, which I know a few words here and there from my cultural heritage. But anyways, yeah. So, and then he sits there and he goes, God, why? Why? Your people have gone against you, all these things I've witnessed, and I feel like I'm the only one. Why am I the only one? And God says, you're not the only one, dude. You're not. There's 7,000 who haven't bent the knee. You're not the only one. So get out there, go do what I tell you, complete the task. And Elijah goes and completes the task. So even in your low points, you still got a task. You still got things to do. There's still instruction. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to cover. That's all I got. Maybe I'll have some other great idea or inspiration come to me, but it's bedtime. I gotta go to sleep. I'm really grateful that I have a hotel tonight and I'm not sleeping in that hot truck. Because man, as soon as the engine shuts off and the front AC goes, whoo boy, it was not pretty. When I was in Hutch last week, I was sweating something fierce. It was bad. That was not pleasant. So thankfully, I'm not going to be sweating tonight. Hopefully. I'm going to go lay down in that bed behind me and get some sleep. All right. As always, I'll catch y'all later. Shalom.